is Emily, and this is a story I will never forget. It happened on a cold winter night, and it taught me something important about life, love, and myself. It was December, and the snow was falling heavily. The wind was strong, and the roads were slippery. My boyfriend Liam and I were driving home from a party at our friend's house. At first, everything was fine. We were talking and laughing, but suddenly we started to argue. I don't even remember what started the fight. Maybe it was something small like the music in the car or the way I talked to someone at the party. But the argument grew bigger and bigger. Liam was shouting and I was shouting back. "Why do you always do this, Emily?" Liam yelled, gripping the steering wheel tightly. His face was red and his voice was angry. "Do what?" I replied. "You're the one who's acting like this. Why can't you just calm down?" The car was hot from the argument, but the world outside was freezing. Snow covered the trees and the road, and the blizzard made it hard to see anything. Finally, Liam hit the brakes. The car stopped in the middle of the road. He looked at me with frustration in his eyes. "Get out," he said. I froze. "What? Are you serious?" "Yes, I'm serious. Get out of the car," he shouted again. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. My heart was racing. I thought maybe he was joking, but he wasn't. He opened the door on my side and motioned for me to leave. The freezing wind rushed into the car. "Fine," I said. I didn't want to argue anymore. I grabbed my coat and stepped out of the car. The cold air hit my face like a slap. I could barely see anything because the snow was blowing so hard. Before I could say anything else, Liam slammed the door and drove away. The lights of his car disappeared into the white storm, leaving me alone on the empty road. I stood there for a moment, shocked. The snow was falling fast, and the wind was howling around me. My feet were freezing, and my hands were shaking. I looked down the road, but there was no one else in sight. No cars, no people, just snow and silence. I started walking. My boots sank into the snow with every step. I didn't know where I was going, but I knew I couldn't just stand there. I hugged my coat tightly around me, but it didn't help much. The cold was biting through my clothes. Why did this happen? I thought to myself. Tears started rolling down my cheeks, but they froze almost immediately. I felt scared, angry, and sad all at the same time. How could Liam leave me like this? Didn't he care about me at all? As I walked, I tried to stay calm. I remembered something my mom always told me. When things go wrong, don't panic. Think about what you can do. So I took a deep breath and looked around. I saw a small light in the distance. It was faint, but it was there. I followed the light. It was hard to walk because the wind was pushing me back, but I kept going. Step by step, I got closer to the light. After what felt like hours, I finally reached it. It was a small house on the side of the road. The windows were glowing with warm yellow light. I knocked on the door. My hands were so cold that I could barely feel them. After a moment, the door opened, and an old woman stood there. She looked at me with kind eyes. "Oh dear, come in," she said, pulling me inside. The warmth of the house surrounded me like a blanket. I started to cry again, but this time it was because I was safe. The woman gave me a cup of hot tea and a blanket. She listened as I told her what had happened. "You're brave, my dear," she said, patting my hand. "But no one should treat you like that. Remember, you deserve respect and kindness." Her words stayed with me. The next morning, the storm had stopped. The woman called a taxi for me and I went home. Liam called me later that day. He apologized again and again. "I'm sorry, Emily," he said. "I didn't mean to leave you like that." But I had already decided something. I told him, "Liam, I can't be with someone who treats me like that. What you did was wrong, and I deserve better." It wasn't easy to say, but I knew it was the right thing to do. Sometimes love isn't enough if there's no respect. That night taught me a lot. I learned that I'm stronger than I thought. I learned that it's okay to stand up for myself. And I learned that real love is about respect, kindness, and care. Now, every time I see snow, I remember that night. But instead of feeling sad, I feel proud, because I know that I deserve to be treated with love and respect, and so do you. I would be very happy if you share your comments with me. If you enjoy learning English with me, please subscribe us